What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Creative Rise podcast, episode 178. And today we're talking about what to do when you're in a slow season.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. It sounds like a negative topic, but it's actually a very, hopefully, encouraging episode for you because we all experience slow seasons. Quite literally, some of us have them built into the rhythms of the calendar based on the industries we're in. So we need to talk about what to do when you are in one of them.
Yeah.
And how to think about it. But before we do, some exciting news. It's been a great week. Our puppy's growing. If you were on the show last week, you saw that we got a new puppy.
Still biting, but he's growing.
Still a little bit of a terror, but he's very cute. So
it makes up for it.
Yeah. But a couple quick wins. We've been loving just some of the stuff that we've been hearing from our Creative Rise community, specifically in the Creative Rise grad community. Everybody that's gone through the mastermind, some people that are in the Creative Rise graduate community that are updating us on things that are happening in their businesses. So a couple quick shout outs before we get started on this week's topic. Hopefully these encourage you. Owen got a $4,500 per month test run for new retainer package, which is awesome. He's been killing it with those test runs. Pedro, shout out to Pedro, just booked a $4,000 brand project that could also turn into a retainer. He's super fired up about that deal. Congrats, Pedro. And then Jacob and Jasmine just locked down their first bigger brand project. And it's actually with a company that's super aligned with what they're doing because they're currently converting a van to live in right now. And so this is actually a company that makes products for van conversions, which is really cool. So shout out to them, $3,000 deal. Jasmine and Jacob, you guys are killing it. So a couple quick shout outs to kick off this week's pod. Hopefully that just encourages you. That you can also do those things. You can also get deals like that. There's lots of people booking weddings right now, shooting weddings, getting the deposits on those, getting the final payments on those as we head into summer, which is typically more of the final deposit time of year for people in the wedding industry. Obviously, people in the brand industry killing it. So it's good. It's a great week.
It's awesome. Yeah. And you might be hearing those wins and going, oh my gosh, I remember what that used to feel like. Feeling like you're in a slow season, feeling like you're in a dry season. You might be wondering, is this a slow season or did my business just stall out? And so
that's a great question. I think a lot of people, have you ever thought that?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
100%. I've totally thought that too. That is a very normal thought.
The beginning of the end.
Yes. It's like, wait, was that just working for like 7 years and all of a sudden it just doesn't work anymore? Or like, I should shut this thing down? Like, that is a normal thought. So if that is you, you're here on the right episode.
You're absolutely on the right episode. You guys, slow seasons, it's good to figure out which camp you're in. Now, there's two camps. If you're experiencing some dryness in your business, slow season, whatever it is, you fall into one of two camps, okay? And you might be just thinking, oh, my business is failing. That might not be the case because the first camp is that you are doing everything right, but it's just seeming to not work for you right now. And what that usually means is that you're actually just in a slow season of your business. If you're doing everything right, you're like, hey, this used to work. What I'm doing right now has proven to work, and I'm continuing to do that, and it's not outdated. It's just you might be in a season of booking maybe this month, or you have a couple weeks or whatever it is, where it's just a slower season in your business, in your industry, whatever that is. I know a lot of wedding photographers right now are freaking out. They're like, is my business failing? Is my business failing? And we're like, no. Actually, this is kind of a slower booking season for a lot of people, depending on where you live, depending on your industry, depending on the demographic of what you are attracting.
And it's May. Like, you're probably not booking a lot of weddings for 2024 summer right now because they're happening right now.
Because they're already happening.
So that's something to really consider, right? It's like we need to all look at our businesses. So for camp one, where you need to map out where you're actually at, right? Like you need to figure out where in the year am I at and what are the cycles my business goes through in terms of momentum.
Yes.
What was your peak high and peak low? You know, let's talk specifically about your wedding business. Your brand business is a little bit different. Let's talk specific wedding. What was your peak and what was your low? And I'm talking bookings.
Yeah. You mean like inquiry inflow?
I'm talking like inquiries and bookings, like money being made.
Yeah, I would say, well, California is a little bit different. I will say that. California is pretty consistent with bookings, but I would say like you have a big peak in like December because a ton of people get engaged over the holidays, and then you also have people getting a bunch of engagements as you go into summer, and then kind of in fall. Like there's different peaks, but there are 100% valleys in different parts of spring or post fall. Like
September is going to be slower no matter where you live.
Yes, exactly.
Doesn't matter if you're in California or you're somewhere more north where the seasons are even more drastic.
Yeah.
that is what it's going to look like. If you're in Australia or New Zealand, wherever you are, Southern Hemisphere, just flip that. Whatever your summer is, your direct summer is probably when things are happening, not when they're getting planned.
Yeah.
If you're in the wedding industry.
Yeah.
So it's important to know your momentum cycles, right? Because if you don't know your momentum cycles inside of your business, what are my peak months where bookings are hot? What are my peak months where bookings are low? You are often going to be overexcited when bookings are happening, and you're going to be over discouraged when they're
Yes.
not. And that's a
Yes.
super, super important thing to realize about yourself, because if you constantly live in this overexcited, over discouraged cycle, because you're not really being real with yourself about the
Yeah.
different realities, the different seasons of being a business owner, being a creative throughout a calendar year, you can get super discouraged, and
Yes.
it's really devastating. You can mismanage your money.
Mhm.
You're not putting money aside for some of those slower months. You can, blow through all of your energy, or, the way you structure your calendar, you might just get super burnt out because you're not structuring it based on the very realistic cycles of running a business in whatever industry you are in. And this
Yeah.
is for every industry. In the brand
Totally.
industry, I'll speak about the brand, knowing your momentum of your year, it's the same thing in the brand industry. Most brand projects take place in the summertime and fall. A lot of stuff for me over the last decade of doing this has been like late spring, summer focused, and then really heavy in fall. Fall is always the biggest time of year for me. So that means that if that's when all those projects are happening, odds are the slower times for actually getting bookings and getting new traffic to inquire with me is probably going to be a little bit throughout those times. And the more peak stuff is going to be like, right near the end of fall before the Thanksgiving Christmas rush, because that's when things really sort of slow down in the brand world, the corporate world. And then after the holidays, that's when things start to ramp up a little bit more. New budgets for the year.
Yeah.
People are building in new strategies for the year. And that's when it's just important to be ready to receive inquiries, and more importantly, important to get out and start pitching. But
Yeah.
you've got to understand what the ebbs and flows of your momentum cycles are. Because again, if you don't, you will be overexcited when you get wins, and you will be over discouraged when you're not getting wins, rather than just going, oh no, this is how it is. I know it's always very busy in this time of year. I know it's a little bit more dry in this time of year. So I
Yeah.
can keep myself balanced.
So, a tip you can do is go, hey, let me budget out what I need for my personal life and for my business to run. Make sure you have an estimated budget of, hey, every single month, this is what is going out. So that when you have a great month, it's not like, oh, sick, I have all this extra money. Let me go buy a jet ski. It's like, hey, no, 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 no. Save and plan ahead for those low months, for those slower seasons, so that you're not stressed and strapped for cash during that time. So manage your money properly. We've got a bunch of episodes on
Yeah.
managing your money. That's so helpful.
Yeah, scroll through. There's a bunch
There's
on
a
on
ton.
literally how we actually do our own money management personally,
Yeah.
which is the only reason why we are in a house, that we own this house that we're podcasting in right now. It's the only reason why we've got 2 vehicles.
Yeah.
It's the only reason why we've got money to go on trips, do whatever, to give to things, is because of how we manage our money.
Yeah.
If we didn't do that, oh my gosh,
Oh,
life would be so stressful. So
yes.
please go rip off that system. We talk about it in the podcast all the time.
Yeah.
It's so helpful.
And then one more thing, if you are in camp 1, we're going to talk about camp 2 in a second, but if you're in camp 1 where you're doing everything right, it's just a slow season, think about what are adjacent offers you can provide to fill the gap monetarily. So if you're like, okay, no one's booking weddings this summer unless it's like a little offhanded elopement or something like that, like, oh shoot, but I need cash. Start to think of, hey, what are other offers that are adjacent to your industry that you can offer during this time to get some quick wins? We know a lot of people, they're pushing out mini sessions, they're doing other sessions that they maybe normally don't do. They offer little like sales, whatever it is. How can you fill your calendar, fill some monetary gaps with some adjacent offers?
Yeah.
And that can be a really great way to get you through until you can then start budgeting it.
Wedding people try shooting some brands. Brand people try shooting
Yep.
some lifestyle family shoots, whatever. Like, just look for cash infusions.
Yes.
There's no shame in going, hey, I need to make an extra $800
No,
this month,
that's
right?
great.
No shame in that. Figure out how to make it happen and go do it.
Yep, exactly. Okay, so that's camp number 1. You're doing everything right, and yet it is just a slow season. Camp number 2. You're not doing everything right, therefore your business is stalling. It's not just a slow season, it's not just the economy, it's that you stopped doing the things that were generating leads for your business. I see this all the time. We see this so much in Creative Rise. People hustle, right? They're just building their business, or maybe their business has been skyrocketing and they're hustling for leads. They're posting on socials all the time. They're super consistent with lead generation. They're running paid ads. And then all of a sudden, a ton of money starts coming in because they're doing these actions. And then they get really busy. They stop
Fulfilling
posting,
everything,
fulfilling all
working
their
on all the
stuff.
work.
They stop posting. They kind of turn off the paid ads. They stop doing this. They stop talking about it. They stop pitching, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden, 3 months later, they're like, oh my gosh, I don't have any new business. Like what's happening? My business is stalled. Yes, it's stalled because the actions that created the results, you stopped doing them. So you need to start doing those things that you know work. And so really give yourself an honest audit right now and go, did I actually just get comfortable and I turned off my lead generation systems, even accidentally, or I slowed them down? Because your input will always match your output. So if you're not inputting into your business for new leads, you're not pitching, you're not posting, you're not doing all of those things that you know draw you leads, then your business is going to stall out. And that might be you. It might not be a slow season. It might actually be things that you're not
Yeah,
doing.
a good way to understand if you are in camp two, which is where you're not on a slow season, you're actually just not doing the things that create. I said a mix of those words.
Great.
Curate, right? It's that create momentum in your business. You're not doing those things. A great check to see if this is you is just look around at some of your friends that are in the industry. If they're not in slow seasons, it's not a slow season. You're just not doing the things that they might be doing or that
Yeah.
other people in the industry that are succeeding are doing or prioritizing in their business. So as Christy said, it's a big shift from focusing on just working. We hear this term all the time, working on the business versus working in it. And what does that really mean? Well, working in your business is when you're fulfilling things. You're fulfilling the work you've already sold. Oh, you sold the wedding. Now you're shooting and editing the wedding. Now you're sending the wedding off. Those are not income producing tasks. Those are simply fulfillment tasks, right? That's working in your business. Working on your business is typically stuff that is income producing. It's revenue driving. It's things like sales, pitching, getting online, showing your face, posting a ton on social, setting up a lead magnet to try and book more weddings,
Yeah.
pitching at like 10 brands a day. Like those are income producing things. That's working on the business. You're working on the growth of the company. So if you're getting to a place where you're like, man, I just feel like people around me are succeeding and that's just not me right now. Well, you're probably focusing a little bit too much on fulfillment and you need to continue to make sure you do your fulfillment. Your fulfillment has to be done, but you need to make sure once fulfillment is done, your spare time is being used definitely on income producing tasks. Because if you stop focusing on income producing tasks, as Christy said, one day the leads, the money, the inquiries, whatever you want to call it, are going to dry up. And you're going to go, what the heck? I was doing well and now things just aren't working. So
Yeah.
make sure you work on your business just as much, if not more, than when you're actually working in your business. And if you're saying, well, Joey, I can't do that. I'm editing for, 35 hours a week. I have so many wedding galleries. Well, that's probably a good indicator that you need to work on your fulfillment systems. How can you speed edit? Can you hire an editing team?
Use AI.
That was the greatest thing Christy ever
Oh
did
my
for her
gosh.
life was hiring a team to help her edit her weddings,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So what do you need to do in order to be able to create more output on the fulfillment, to do it faster, do it better? And everyone's like, well, I don't know. It's too expensive to hire an editing. Guys, like,
It's not.
what were you paying per wedding?
Oh
It's
gosh.
great.
It's
It's
like
affordable.
it was like $300 or
Like
something like that.
$300 on like a
Yeah.
$6,000 wedding. Like,
Yeah.
and you got 20 hours back, 15 hours back. Like
Oh,
that is so worth it.
crazy.
And then she took all of that and she put it all on working on the business, which is getting out more leads, building out lead generation stuff, growing her business, starting to get into brand stuff, which built her brand business to six figures. You got to learn how to
Yeah.
balance both of those. And it's very important.
Yeah. And last thing, and this is definitely not least, is stay encouraged.
Yeah.
Now, this might sound trite, but it is so true, you guys. In order to be an entrepreneur, in order to own your own business, you are going to go through slow seasons. It's just something you need to expect. When you're changing things, you're shifting things, you're testing your marketing, you might hit a blip, you might hit a down season, or you might hit a thing that stalls out and it's not working like you thought it would. And you are going to hit those times. But the people that are able to make it through are those that stay encouraged, seek support. We always say in Creative Rise, you have a challenge level and you have a support level. If your challenge level goes up, which usually happens in slow seasons, it happens when your business stalls out, your support level needs to rise up to that challenge level. So if you don't have support, I just don't see a lot of people staying in business for that long if they don't have
No, they
support.
don't.
If they don't have support. We would not be able to stay in business in the things that we do and the companies we shoot for if we didn't have support, because it's not always just sunshine and rainbows happening. And so if you don't have support, you need to get some. Get creatives around you, get people who get it around you.
Mm.
If you don't have support, reach out to some people in the Creative Rise community. Like, we've got so many people doing incredible things, and it's so fun to watch in this community that we've got with the alumni. They're all supporting each other. We literally had a call last night where someone was like, "Oh, I feel like I'm kind of in like a little bit of a slow season right now." And we all got to encourage her, and she left the call being like, "Thanks, guys. I actually really needed this. Like, I'm good to go now. I have some stuff that I want to work on."
Mm.
Like, it's so cool to see that happen in action. So if you don't have support like that, find it, carve out time for it, make it happen. One of the ways that people around the Creative Rise community get support like that is through our 6-week Creative Rise Mastermind, which is honestly probably the most concentrated amount of support you
You
can
will ever
get
find.
that you will ever find.
Yeah,
It's
by
so
design.
much support by design. Our next one's coming when,
Fall
Joe?
in September.
In
Next one's
September.
coming in September. If you don't know what it is, it's literally 6 weeks of community accountability and coaching where Christy and I coach you. We get our hands in your business. And you also have like 30 other businesses that you are going through the same process with, as you guys are all going through these 6 pillars of building a 6-figure foundation, a business foundation for your business, so that you can scale your business to 6 figures. I've done this for almost 5 years now. This summer will be 5 years, which is crazy. There's been 330 plus grads that have gone through this. There's been over 100 6-figure businesses built, which is incredible. And we've got the blueprint, so we'd love to give it to you. But more importantly, not just giving you the blueprint on how to do it from a business strategy perspective, the support is the biggest thing,
Yeah.
because you can get all the strategy stuff in the world, but if you don't have people to do it with, you also don't have people that are encouraging you to keep going when it gets difficult, and people that cheer you on when things are easy and you're winning. You're not going to last long, and you're not going to, grow to the places you want to grow. So
Yeah.
it's a huge shortcut. Our whole thing is like, how do we shortcut people like 6 years and 6 weeks? Sounds ridiculous, but it's true. You can get everything that we can give you in 6 weeks, and we can help you implement it. You are miles ahead of where you would be years from now. So
Yeah.
that's coming up fall of 2024. If you want to get on the wait list for that, we only take about 30 businesses every time we do it. So if you need to get on the wait list, because that's where everybody comes from, because
Yeah.
there's so many people that want in, go to creativebrowse.com, put a link in the description of the podcast. You can jump on there. You can find all the info on creativebrowse.com of what you're going to be learning, how we help you implement things, and all that fun stuff. So
Yeah.
hopefully today's episode was so helpful for you. Again, stay encouraged, whether you're in camp 1. You just got to stay encouraged and know that the cycle is moving. Your momentum cycle is moving. Different times of the calendar year produce different results for your business. It's just how it is. You have to continue to lay the foundation today for the fruit that's coming in the next season. So really important if you're in camp 1. If you're in camp 2, where you feel like you're in a slow season, yet other people aren't in a slow season, something about your operations has to change. Start focusing more on income producing tasks, less on just the mundane day-to-day, whatever you're doing over here on the fulfillment side. You got to dial in a balance on those. So if this episode is helpful for you, make sure you share it with a friend. Leave us a 5-star written review if you would like to. It's a great way to get the show out there. That's how the algorithms work in the podcast world. But guys, thankful for you guys being here today. Maybe Bogey, our little pup, will make another
Little cameo
a little
appearance.
cameo appearance on next week's podcast, and we'll catch you there. Bye-bye.